Hello fellow weebs, and welcome to the first episode of For the Plot, where we look way too deeply into the stories of anime, video games, and honestly whatever else is nerdy and also has a good story. So my name's James, a resident Hikokomori, and your host for today. So I was scrambling for a good topic for episode 1, with everything from a study on delinquent characters in anime, a well-written power sets and what they can do for your story, writing a master character, and writing character deaths. And trust me, all of those and more are hopefully coming in future videos. Anyway, well, thinking about it, I probably made the worst decision for episode 1, but screw it, let's go. Anyway, today we're talking Trigun, one of the big free space western anime from the 90s, along with Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star. The series is best known for its action, comedy, rich detailed characters, incredibly well-written story, and having one of the, 3 good English dubs? Yeah, like, Cowboy Bebop, yeah, Big O, sure, Code Geass had a push, though that was really just Johnny on Bosch doing a killer job as Lelouch, and everyone else is just kind of meh. Anyway, enough talk on controversial topics, let's talk about religion. So, Trigun is not exactly subtle about its Christian imagery. I mean, you can just take one look at Wolfwood to see that, not to mention how often religion is brought up by the characters. And honestly, it was really refreshing for me to go in, getting to see talk of faith without blatant, bigotry and hate towards Christians. Seriously, with the way media is today, it was just kind of nice. Oh yeah, so by the way, I'm a Christian, just getting that out of the way early. For those in the audience that can't deal with that sort of thing, why are you even watching this video? Didn't you read the title? Anyway, why all this talk about religion, you probably asked? Well, thanks for probably asking, dear viewer, because that's what I'm going to talk about today. So the world of Trigun, or more accurately, the planet of Gunsmoke, is, well, it's messed up. I mean, going anywhere will result in you getting shot, mugged, and any number of other horrible things happening to you. Or, even not going anywhere, as it turns out. Anyway, much like in real life, there are a lot of horrible people doing horrible things. But at the end of the day, they are all people, and that's at the crux of the philology of Trigun. People, and the perspective of heaven, or at least that's how I'll be covering it today. Oh, and before I go any further, I'll also mention that I'm going off of the anime for this one, as I haven't finished the manga yet. Okay, I know, it's just really slow, and the fight scenes are long and hard to follow, and I just really wanted to make the video without having to finish the manga first. Anyway, sorry about that. So, back to the anime. So among the various cities in Gunsmoke, we have the plants. Now the plants are basically these sort of weird things? Anyway, so while they are very much alive and in fact humanoid, they are very much not human, and due to the machines they're hooked up to, they're even mistaken by the human population to just be, well, machines. Well, it's made pretty clear throughout the show that the plants represent angels. A pretty easy comparison to make, they may often appear to be human despite not being so, they predate humanity, are of an otherworldly beauty, etc., etc. But the biggest point to be made with the plants is their presence among humanity. The plants provide power for the homes of the people around them, as well as basic terraforming and vegetation. But humanity viewing the plants as simple machines creates, a great comparison for angels in the real world. Their actions being taken for granted, simply being the way the world works, and has always worked. And so no one really understands the nature of the plants, or even cares until one is threatened. With humanity pretty much being shown to be reasonably worthless without them. But among the plants, we have 2 very special characters, Knives and Lelouch v Britannia. Wait. Sorry, I meant funny Lelouch v Britannia. Wait. Vash, I meant Vash, the one and only humanoid typhoon, and probably my favorite anime character of all time. Anyway, we'll be getting to him in a bit, but for now, let's talk Knives. Millions. Knives Millions. Yeah, that's his name. Now, Knives is an interesting character. A twin brother of our favorite Needle Noggin and resident crusader for planetary genocide. So Knives believes that humanity is basically nothing but scum, and that it deserves nothing but eradication. And honestly, I mean, let's be real here, he's kinda right. But humanity are made up of murderers, thieves, and all manner of other things I'm not going to say in this video, and even for those not to those extremes, we are all sinners. None of us are perfect, and we've shown that given the chance, we're gonna commit those sins over and over and over again, So looking at us from the perspective of heaven, Knives' conclusion is a pretty reasonable one. Why do we deserve to live? Just so we can keep doing the same sins over and over and over? Anyway, but that's Knives' whole shtick, and a complete shtick. And a completely logical viewpoint, which brings me then to the other perspective. So opposed to Knives, we have Vash. Now, Vash, I believe, has the same perspective on humanity that Knives does, and indeed doesn't really contradict him on the idea that humans do terrible things to each other all the time. In terms of the basic observation, Vash has witnessed that same truth. But where Vash and Knives differ, and what Vash adds to this, is the perspective of heaven factoring in the personality of God himself. So at the core of it, Vash represents the one and only Jesus Christ, old JC, Daddy J. Yeah, I'm cool. No, okay. So at the core of it, Vash represents the one and only Jesus Christ, and that's going to be very important going forward, as the love that Jesus has for us is, well, we all know how it went down way back when.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life.
End quote. But yeah, like a big part of Vash's character here is that he sees the scum that humanity are, but rather than doing what any normal, reasonable person might do, chooses instead to save them. And in the process, he goes through a lot of trauma because of it. I mean, look at the man. Like, seriously, look at that! Look at that! He needs metal bits to hold himself together here, apparently, and he doesn't even get to have 2 arms. Like, really, he's seen some right nonsense. And his scars are more than just physical. Like, he's been around since before the entire civilization of Gunsmoke even began. In that entire time, he's been suffering at the hands of humanity over and over and over again.
You haven't done anything wrong, yet terrible things keep happening to you all the time. The townspeople look at you like you're some sort of criminal. Doesn't that bother you?
So why keep going? Like, why is it when most people, when exposed to the outside world, turn into complete cynics, myself included, but this man is able to keep going with that fond and very sad smile on his face? The answer is pretty simple. That he loves humans, that he loves us, and despite the abuse we hurl towards him every day, has the love to keep on going, to keep on reaching out to humanity. And he decides that, yeah, humanity are scum, but at the end of the day, we're somehow worth it. Yeah, and that he'll endure whatever he has to save us. Not to mention just the pain he goes through whenever we refuse to be saved. He's forever reaching out to save everyone and constantly having his hands slapped away over and over again. But again, he just keeps going. Like, he won't stop trying to save us, no matter how much suffering we cause. So anyway, so Vash is great. But on then to my next favorite character in the series, Wolfwood. Or to call him by his full name, Nicholas Doko no Kumi no Monjaware? What? Doko no Kumi no Doko no Kumi no Monjaware Sumina Kishite Shizumetaro Kakora. Wolfwood. Yeah, there we go, nailed it, totally. What is this guy, in post-apocalyptic Jugamu? Yeah, totally nailed it there. Anyway, yes, that's his real name, go look it up. But anyway, the position of Wolfwood is a really interesting one. That being, the position of a man of God in the midst of a corrupted world. So Wolfwood is this super badass, like, wandering gunslinger. I mean, it's Trigun, so everyone's a gunslinger. But anyway, he's a priest who, as we find out later on in the anime, is a follower of Knives and one of the gung-ho guns. So he's a man that believes in God, but has a lot of trouble seeing it God's way, as he has a pretty close-up view of how rotten the world is, and so for a long time goes with Knives' way. After all, he not only sees just how messed up humans are, but, he has held the solution to that problem in his hands since he was a child.
I actually laughed. Because that one shot was all it took to finally silence that sickening piece of garbage who had the nerve to call himself my guardian.
Yep. Yeah. So his viewpoint, as well as his decisions, make perfect sense. As a man with faith in God, but ultimately no hope or faith in the idea that humanity can be saved, And honestly, that's a place I have been in for a long time. Like, just not seeing why Jesus would even bother to save us, knowing just we're not worth it. But then we get to see his involvement with Vash and all the interactions between those two characters. The two are clashing constantly, with Wolfwood, always just calling out Vash's methods as being ineffective and pointless, that there's no point in trying to save anyone, But then over the course of the story, we see Wolfwood's ideas on that being challenged, and even he has to admit that when Vash's way is followed through, that they tend to get the best possible result. Ultimately, he ends up coming over to Vash's side and making peace with the Lord, though sadly he does this pretty much on his deathbed, in a sad and honestly just really just beautiful scene. And if you haven't seen it, like, what are you doing here? I put a spoiler warning in. Go watch the show. It's great.
Was everything I did in my life a mistake? Would I be wrong now to ask for your forgiveness? I did not want to die this way!
Man, that scene was good. Anyway, so in conclusion, there's a lot of Christian stuff in Trigun. Knives is an accurate perspective on humanity from heaven. Vash is Jesus, Wolfwood is a priest, and Trigun is cool. Anyway, but that was pretty much all I had to say on that. I hope I made sense today, and while I'll ask, please go easy on me, it's my first video. Please feel free to fight me in the comments if there's anything you disagreed with, or anything I missed. Honestly, I'm sure there's a ton that I'm not seeing, so any and all feedback is more than welcome. Though, given the sensitive nature of this topic, I ask that we all keep things civil, and please just no going out of control in the comments, that's just not fun for anyone. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great day, week, whatever, and hope to see you all next time. See ya!